Hey YouTube, this is TCA Gaming. I'm going to show you a few more purchases that I've made this past week, plus a really cool PSA return. And we're going to start off with another purchase from Bone Big Out 075, or the Gaming Duelist. Whatever you know him by. He's pretty cool. Every time I've bought from him, he's been like super chill about the purchase and always been on time with the shipments. This time I bought some more, I guess, playable meta cards like the Dines, which I think are going to be super, like they're just going to be like a super rand staple, kind of like Tapu Lele. But we'll just have to see. I mean, you never know what people go with. I mean, there's a lot of rogue decks out there too. Then we got some other cards that are a little bit older, like the Arceus and the Blossom. But you know, I bet I'll end up adding those to some of those TCA Gaming premium collection packs, which I know some of you have been buying those ever since Unlisted Leaf showed them, and the ones I send out from eBay are actually quite a bit better because they're valued at 120 bucks. But I think the ones that I sent to Unlisted Leaf, they were like in the $80 range or so. He also sent me some PSA stuff. Got like an Arceus Prime there, got an Entei first edition from Neo Revelation, Arceus Level X, Typhlosion EX. Again, none of these are like really high-end premium cards, especially since they're not Gem at 10. But for me, I can still sell them. I'll find that buyer even if it's a year down the road. So sometimes it's good to unload cards like that because they do take a while to move. He also sold me a Reshiram and Charizard GX, which I sold out of these really quickly from the ones I pulled from my packs. So what I've did is, from the ones that I've been buying lately, I've just been kind of setting aside. I think I want to send these off to PSA, get them graded, because I know a lot of people are always looking for that PSA 10 Charizard. Another cool card here is the Dragonite, and this is a ghost stamp. So many of you know that these are supposed to have gold lettering. Gold lettering embossed across right here where it says Kids WB presents Pokemon, the first movie. But this one actually doesn't have that gold lettering, but you can still see the imprint of the stamp. I know there's a Pikachu out there, but that guy wants an inverted Pikachu as a trade, and I need both of them myself. Next up, I'm going to show you a PSA return. Some pretty cool stuff. We got a Charizard here, an excellent 5. I thought that it had a shot at the OC, but it didn't get it. You know, that's understandable. There's a thin stamp. This one right here is also a thin stamp, but it's a 4. If you don't know what I mean by a thin stamp, let me see if I got... Okay, so both of these are first edition Charizards. They're both graded 4, but if you look at the stamp, the one on this one seems to have more like space in between the black part of the circle. The one is thick. And on this one, the one is thin. It's almost like it's got too much ink on that one. Usually, if there is any difference in price, this one will demand a slightly higher price. And from what I found, the thin stamp does seem to be a little bit more common, but they're both pretty interchangeable. Not many people even really care about that small difference. Here we've got a thin stamp for another 5. And again, I thought I had a good shot at the OC, but I guess because it was a low grade, it didn't get that qualifier. And then we have another 4 here, another thin stamp. And then to round it out, we've got a PSA 2. And again, you wouldn't think that a PSA 2 would have any value increase, but I think that, especially with PSA going up on how much they charge for cards, even in raw condition like these, that even the 2s are going to have a little bit of a premium over an ungraded played first edition Charizard. Next up, I have something really cool. We have the sample set. For those of you who have no idea what the sample set is, I have a video on it. But if you don't, then I'll kind of go over it briefly. If you look right here, it says sample in the bottom right hand corner. The sample set was a 10 card set that was released. There was 100 copies exactly of each card from what I was told, and about 50 of them made it into circulation. That's just estimated on the 50. But if you look on the back side, instead of having a standard English back, it has a Japanese back. In fact, it has the new style Japanese back, which was just coming around at that point. But again, the front is English. So these cards are really, really tough to come by. 50, even if you're talking about every single card that wasn't, it's pretty much been guaranteed to me that not all of the copies made it, because these were samples. These were exactly what they sound like they were, and many of them were given out or used in store to scan in these e-readers, and then they were tossed out, and then someone would use another copy. So let's just say every single one of the 100 copies are out there. Then there's only 100 Rapidash. There's only 100 Chansey. And if you compare that to, say, even like the Charizard, where there's thousands and thousands of these Charizards out there, it makes these cards very, very scarce. But there's not a lot of people that know about them, and there's not a ton of collectors who are really that high end for some, you know, some of these niche type markets. But anyways, I was happy with the grades for sure. Gem at 10 there, Gem at 10 on the Chansey. Also got the same perfect grade on the Ghastly as on the Coughing. So there's 4 of the 10, there's 6 more to come. You got Machop, you do have the Machoke, there's also Machamp. So you have an evolution line right there. Then you have Hip, one of 2 cards that have a lot of different artworks right in a short period of time. And the other one is the Pikachu, of course, and both of those got the Gem at 10. And then, so you see there's 9 out of 10 Gem at 10s from the set, and then the Pikachu, it gets a 9. So I was 1 grade short on 1 card of getting the full Gem at 10 set in sequential order. But PSA was not extra harsh on this Pikachu. I do also believe it was supposed to get the 9. If you look down here in the corner, you can see some edge wear on that bottom left edge. And that's what made this Pikachu a 9 instead of a 10. But thanks PSA for grading these cards. You guys, if you want to buy yourself some samples, I do know that there are a very small amount of them on eBay right now. I've got a link for it down in the description if you want to go pick up some. And his prices aren't that bad. In fact, his prices are about half of what I was asking when I removed mine from eBay because I didn't want to sell them. But anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to check out some of these sellers. And thanks for watching.